What?
everywhere, bro.
Push the button, clowns.
The button's pushed. So, hey everybody, what's up? It's Clowns with 4 Guys Recorders going live right now at 5:05 p.m. A little bit late, sorry guys. A little difficulties on the topics, but anyway, before I introduce the guests real quick, just gonna run down the topics. Basically, gonna talk about the Amazon Luna, cloud streaming and where that's headed. We're gonna talk a little bit about the gains with gold, which not really appetizing, some PlayStation hiccups, and more. So stay tuned. And without further ado, I want to go ahead and get into the guests. Welcome, Gaz from Game On Daily. What's going on, buddy?
Hey, man. I'm good. Thank you for having me. Just happy to be here. You've done a couple of shows with us. It's been great. And I'm just happy to now be on yours. Let's get into it.
Awesome. And I just need to fix Twitch because Restream picked up an old title saying that it is Flamish streaming, which is definitely not. So, Crispy, what's going on, man? You said you came in hot. I mean, what'd you do? You walked in like Danny DeVito?
Oh yeah, you know it. You know, Danny DeVito, the bomb's going off and back. He's got the strut stuff going on. Yeah, no, I just got out of work, so I'm like literally like running around. I'm like, please let it not be Skype. So he said Discord, and I was like, all right, let's go. And then I was like, why can't I find the voice channel? So yeah, just coming in hot, just ready to roll. Let's do it.
All right, sounds good. I like that when you come in hot. Sounds like you broke out of your van that you were podcasting in on GBT Nation. So it's a positive sign, right?
Oh yeah, let's do it, baby.
And welcome, VJ, man. Welcome back, buddy. How's it going?
Not too bad. Thanks for having me back on the show, Clowns.
Absolutely. And Midway Monster, straight out of Chicago or Illinois or Idaho or somewhere in the Midwest. What's up, buddy?
The Chicago, Illinois. Thank you. What's up, guys? As you can see on the stream, VJ has surpassed me as Clown's best friend because he's now closer to Clowns. Really liking these topics. Let's get into it.
Yeah, so I think that the biggest thing, I want to say one of the biggest things this week that really surprised me, and I'm not sure if it surprised everybody else on the panel, is Amazon announcing Amazon Luna, which is their cloud streaming service. And for me, it takes me back a little bit because they are a powerful powerhouse when it comes to money, finances, and all of that stuff. So I just think that them entering the game really changes things and puts perspective on what Xbox and Phil has said in the past, that their competition is really Amazon and Google. It's not really, PlayStation anymore. They surpassed that as a competitor. And seeing that they're going into like a beta service at $5.99 a month to start out is blowing my mind. Like, how can they even recoup that kind of cost with all the stuff that they're offering? So, VG, I want to go into you because you're very analytical and you think about stuff like this a lot. Any thoughts on this, VJ?
Sorry, in particular regards to the Amazon Luna.
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So I think for Amazon, right? I mean, at the moment, I think if anybody wants to enter into the game industry, there's going to be a considerable amount of cash burn and investment. And I think that they've obviously waited long enough, right? I think many of us are surprised that they haven't thrown their hat like completely into the ring. So I'm not surprised, and it'll be very interesting the position that they take up. Even though obviously this price point and the structure of how they're offering their wares to consumers is pretty interesting. Straight off the bat, I only had a quick glance at it, but in comparison to Stadia, and what they promised in terms of console gaming via streaming, which hasn't. I personally don't think it's been met. That promise has been met, and obviously the software that they offer is pretty lackluster. But for some reason, maybe it's just a gut feel, and everybody on the panel can obviously have their say. But I think that Amazon should definitely be taken a little bit more seriously. It's early doors, but I guess we'll have to wait and see.
Do you think that, VJ, that Amazon will pose any threat to, let's say, like PS Now or PlayStation or Google Stadia?
It's a really broad question, and if I start speaking, I may not stop. So just tell me when to stop, right? But so the first thing, right, we're talking about here, right, is console versus cloud gaming, right? Consoles are always going to be the ultimate way to experience games in the manner that a creator intended, compared to like watching a movie maybe on your phone versus a home cinema or ultimately visiting a theater. Cloud gaming, although not perfection personified at this present moment in time, is yet another access point, right, for all of us to experience video games via your personal device that you've either become accustomed to, and let's say, well, 99% of the world has become attached to, right? It's part of your being almost at this stage. So, and also it acts as a really great gateway drug to sort of engage your imagination, and I hope that's more important going forward to enhance sort of like not just addiction to gaming, but in a way that it can positively sort of help community development, especially if we're going to be able to have access all of this via 5G and on the go. From a business perspective, the xCloud initiative, which I think everybody is looking at right now, whether it's Google Stadia or whether it's Luna, sorry, I just skipped my mind there. It's there to aid the growth of what? Fundamentally it's Game Pass subscribers, right? Or whether it's Luna subscribers or Stadia subscribers. And as a byproduct, what I think where Microsoft is in a much stronger position, because they can convert those subscribers to in order to adopt a piece of hardware, right? And ultimately increasing the install base, especially if as a gamer, your personal desire is to experience Xbox's most coveted and, how can I say, expansive games, right? More suited for the big screen. I can't talk about Sony and PlayStation now in isolation. So let me start with Xbox, Nintendo, and then Sony, right? Because I think we just need to look at the whole picture. Just answering the question in a microcosm is often misleading. And I think that's where the media falls down for a lot of people, because it's just regurgitated information rather than looking at the whole sphere. I think Phil Spencer went on to CNN and Fox recently, just a few days ago, and he intimated that he plans on seducing 3 billion gamers, right, into subscribing to Game Pass. That speech, when I heard it, is designed for shareholder benefit and to dazzle gamers that then become enraptured and auto-acquiesce to PR spin and then vomit their euphoric and skewed thoughts on social media. That happens every day on a daily basis, and I apologize to anyone if I've upset their sensibilities there. I understand the time and the execution of like blue sky thinking from Phil's point of view. It's good PR at this stage, and it sends a clear message to Luna and to Amazon. And I think that's partly why they're reacting. And if Xbox can tap into the goldmine of gamers, right, everybody benefits to a degree, including Sony, Nintendo, Luna, and Stadia. So let's look at the creative powerhouse that is Nintendo and its current position. And I'll come to my point as to why I'm talking about them, right? They produce sort of creative and engaging content for console gamers and, more important, families. That, to a degree, is simply not on offer from anyone else. Nintendo were founded, in 1889 or something like that? Definitely in the 1800s. So continue to grow and blossom organically, all the while creating new experiences and IPs that fundamentally is intrinsic to their existence, right? Very existence. So, but the band of frequency that their audience exists in is still pretty narrow, and their foray into, I think it was mobile gaming, I can't remember, when someone in the panel might have to remind me, has not developed as many thought it might. So much for professional analysts, right, trying to dictate Nintendo's future back in 2013, I think, after the Wii U catastrophe. However, looking at Nintendo today, currently they have 200 million, I think, online Switch accounts since 2017, right? Versus 100 million Xbox Live accounts established since 2002. right? Nintendo has 26 million paying subscribers. In half the time it's taken Xbox to amass 15 million. Nintendo's promised, I think in the recent sort of financial or shareholder proposal, that they've promised to develop online services and rapidly grow new IP amongst other initiatives to expand the company, especially with, they know they're in a far better position than us to know that there's looming threats on the horizon, right? I mean, it's not just us guys, otherwise we'd be working there. So no doubt strategies to increase subscribers and subscription fees going forward is at the top of the list. But the timing is what we don't know and what we get caught up in. So the question we need to ask ourselves before even discussing Sony is Nintendo's business model relevant going forward, since it's further removed from that of Sony's distance from Microsoft? So let's just go back to Microsoft for a second. Let's see where they're at right now. So before proclaiming to divide the Red Sea and lead 3 billion players to the promised land, like Phil just did on CNN and Fox, some thoughts just randomly came to my mind, which it actually reminds me of the ill-advised and hypothetical Dreamcast spin of connecting 6 billion players via a 56K modem, right? We all know how that all went. So there are questions closer to home we should be thinking about if any of us were sitting on the exec team at Microsoft. What is the holdup or issue in Xbox, first of all, converting those 100 million live subscribers to Game Pass? Is this not sort of the very definition, in my opinion anyway, of low-hanging fruit? Why is it that the 15 million subscribers, I'm not having a go at Xbox here, I'm just looking at their business model and what's happening and why Luna, why Amazon are coming in now and why didn't they come in before, and what's going to happen going forward? So why is it that 15 million subscribers were reported, I think, 2 to 3 months ago when I came onto the podcasting scene, right? I was hearing about that all at the time. And so why is that number still stagnant at 15 million today, according to an official tweet? Did PC gamers who saw the price hike in I think it was September 17th and $9.99 have second thoughts and unsubscribe? xCloud launched in 22 countries. Where's the bump in subs? They are potentially, and I'm thinking that of the 15 million Game Pass subscribers, let's sort of hypothetically think, because we don't have the facts, right? Potentially at 5 million of 700 million PC gamers on Game Pass. That's only a 0.7% conversion. What are the initiatives to drive that upwards? The EA Play deal, what is the forecasted increase then in subs, right? And I understand it's not out until November 10th. And then you've got the ZeniMax deal, right? Which is what, a $7.5 billion acquisition. Where is the huge spike in Game Pass subs, especially since Doom Eternal's out in less than 48 hours? One of the main reasons Xbox bought ZeniMax was to hold the studio number narrative. They already had the power. They already had the price in terms of dollar to power ratio, right? And I think more wisely why they purchased it is because the iconic brands, it arguably elevate the forlorn Xbox brand itself. And that's my opinion, right? That's where I think they're at, and that's why they've done it. And there's loads of other connotations as to why they've done it, but we haven't got time to go into that right now. So then we have like Sony, right? Now, I've seen a lot of people beating up Sony in the last few days, and I'm not a fan of either, but I have to kind of look at it from their perspective. Where are they at? And I think a lot of people are asking, Sony's so quiet. What is going on? Why aren't they saying anything? And you just alluded to, like in the introduction, like they may not even release a system this year, right? Sorry if I've got that wrong, but my mind was all over the place. So to the Japanese, in my experience, and I spent a lot of time over in Asia, they've got a certain type of discipline and stamina when it comes to business. A year late, $200 overpriced, with the overall corporation on a spiraling downward trend for several years in a row, Sony still focused on making the best first-party games possible for its PlayStation 3 system, right? This laid the creative foundation for the PlayStation 4 and what their company would achieve going forward. The PlayStation, I think, launched in late 2013, and soon after, I think a few months later, in 2014, I think Sony were being heckled at an AGM by disappointed shareholders. Even at the time of the PlayStation 4 launch, Sony was seemingly heading like to the, I don't know how to put it exactly, but a piled high scrap heap of stagnated Japanese electronic companies, Toshiba and all of these guys, all falling by the wayside. And also, don't forget that Sony at the time were also recently being forced into a sale and leaseback of its New York City and Tokyo headquarters, right, which they had called home, right, for 50 years, just to raise funds for the company to stay alive, right? You have to admire where Nintendo is now versus several years ago, preceding the disaster of the Wii U, and Sony coming back from the brink. So if you're not quite sure where Sony is today, let me just put it to you this way. Sony have more annual revenue, more cash reserves and less debt than Disney right now. And
wow.
people say Sony don't have money. Capital or the raising of it is not an issue for Nintendo, Sony, or any blue chip company. It's easily raised if they require it. Sony, historically, even Nintendo, right? I'm just looking at the Japanese perspective here for the moment, right? Won't be forced into anything like a knee-jerk reaction, just as Nintendo wasn't after the Wii U. You remember, right? The media were crushing them at the time, right? Telling them they should stop making games, making for Sony, put your games on mobile, stop trying to make hardware. We all remember that, right? And but both of these companies will have a solid business plan, regardless of what competitors do to a degree. If a competitor, and this is anyone who has a business, right? If a competitor encroaches on your business and bottom line, then you should be prepared to deploy countermeasures as required, right? So, however, that should be in the form of, first and foremost, and I think everyone will agree, is compelling content first and foremost, absolutely. And the delivery mechanism, whether it's through a hardware system or whether it's via the cloud or whether it's pigeon post, I don't know. But the mechanism and method is secondary, since there are more options available to do so. I think the appetite for new gaming systems, and I hope I'm speaking for everybody, the appetite for new gaming systems, I've never seen, and I've been around in gaming for 25, 30 years now, and I've never seen it like this before, in terms of like the raw hunger, right? And to have something, as technologically advanced as these new systems are coming out. And I understand that they're all offering sort of varied ecosystems on offer, and regardless of that, it's still pretty ravenous. And if you're asking me about like who's going to win and who's going to succeed and what's the plan, I think that given whether there's 2, 3, 4, 5 companies, there's going to come a point of convergence where each company adopts and adapts certain strategies from the other in order to evolve, right?
I see. Okay.
As of right
like
now,
EA going to Game Pass.
It's much more broader than that, but I'll try to explain it in a bit more detail now. So as of right now, you've got Game Pass, right? And business models from Stadia and Luna do not have clear optics and metrics for us to review. So when you ask me the question, hey, how do you feel about Luna? What are they going to do? Well, there's so many things that I don't have to hand to, and even if you give you an informed opinion, and to be honest with you, it would be an amateur opinion. I don't work at those companies, right? It'd be completely amateur. I'm not an expert by any stretch of the imagination. But if the panel here could review it, let alone we'd get some understanding of it, right? But we still wouldn't be able to sit here and ascertain sort of like long-term implications of those plans, right? Or those numbers, right? Some say Nintendo and Sony are falling behind. I would think that they have the resources that we're talking about right now to easily build models and run simulations. They are exercising, in my opinion, restraint, wisdom of observing and learning before moving a muscle. I will also say it's easier said than done, right? A lot of people say Microsoft, Sony just can't flip a switch, and I say, okay, technically no, and I agree to a degree. It's like saying just by watching a Bruce Lee movie doesn't make you a kung fu expert. I know there's a few people on the panel that might disagree, but anyway, I'm coming to the end of my rant here, so please bear with me. But my point is, we need to consider that it's not for the first time Nintendo or Sony have had to wrestle with an aggressor or with their shoulders near the lap, right? It happened in 1991 to Sony as well. Sony will reach its business objectives if needed. And if it is really just selling 100 million consoles and having a 10-to-1 tie ratio, that's success for them, right? That's maybe as far as they're looking. I don't think so, but let's just get to brass tacks, right? But it's only going to happen if they have consistent content to dictate and harness those goals, right? They've come out and said, now how true it is, I don't know, right? Maybe it's just another company doing a PR spin. They said they're going to double down on content, and it was in their financial report as well. For this upcoming PlayStation 5 gen, the consistency of increased content and quality over lifespan is historically proven by Sony, not as much by Xbox. That's a big factor. The Bethesda deal.
What was the original question?
I don't know, but I've nearly finished though.
Because okay, go ahead.
You want me to finish? I can stop here if you want, but I've got
no, go ahead. Sorry, I'm so confused here. No. Keep going.
The Bethesda deal, in my opinion, what does it serve? For other than just giving Microsoft a load of brands that are iconic, right, and elevate its own brand, right? The Bethesda deal for me also serves as a catalyst for this promise that Sony and Nintendo are making, right? And they have to make it a reality, right? And I don't know if it ever was going to be, but for sure it's going to be one now, right? Finally, you have to see past. I see a lot of commentary recently also about Jim Ryan as well. He doesn't know what he's doing. Or he's not capable, and so on and so forth, or he's a liar and all that sort of stuff. But you have to really look at the situation. Jim Ryan, he's not the power or influence or guiding hand at Sony. He's a tough, experienced, and pragmatic businessman that carries out business objectives. In closing, I find it hard, really hard to sort of write off the Japanese companies from my experience, especially as one as diverse as Sony. At a glance today, the odds may seem stacked against them, especially with the rumors that Xbox may go and buy Sega. But historically, Sony and Nintendo know tactically exactly how to set up and win in order to achieve their business plans. I'm not saying in terms of winning, in terms of becoming a market leader, because now that's pretty open right now. The floodgates are open. And Sony, as does Nintendo, prefer, and this is a big difference, prefer ingenuity and organic and creative growth, unlike Microsoft, who prefer are more often than not forced into inorganic growth, regardless of what Satya said in the Cena interview that you sent to me, right? I can read right through that. And I've recently witnessed with this exact same thing, with Microsoft writing off $8 billion in relation to its Nokia venture, with over 7,800 people losing their jobs in 2015, just being swept under the carpet. Mergers and acquisitions, more often than not, in my experience and from what I've seen, have obviously have a lot of have an all too human cost to it all. But
BJ?
And if you're still, yeah, go on.
I don't mean to cut you off there. But I think from listening to what you said, I kind of understand what you're saying, is that, you know, that Sony typically and Nintendo typically, you know, in Asia, the blue chip companies like that, they typically don't fear this type of competition, and they evolve and respond appropriately based on their business needs.
Yeah.
Did I phrase that correctly?
I believe so. And I just, there's been a lot of talk and a lot of competition. As gamers, we can obviously be excited, right? And you're wondering, like Luna coming in, Amazon coming in. And I think with, I don't know, no one's mentioned Apple. I'm sure they've got a hat to throw in the ring. And then you've got Google Stadia. I think that whether I've talked about Nintendo or Sony, they're just good examples. But I think you can attribute that skill set or that business mentality to all of them. Otherwise, why didn't they come in months and months and months ago? And I know that ZeniMax is a big deal. And if you're still stubborn and adamant about exclusivity, and if you're starstruck by the Bethesda deal, let me give you a couple of analytical elementary calculations that you love, right? Bethesda sold 45 million units of software this generation on PS4 and Xbox One.
VJ.
But yeah, go on.
VJ, you've covered the entire podcast in one one go, man. I think you've covered all the topics.
I'll go on mute in a second. As an example, Skyrim sold 74% of 30 million units on PC and Xbox, only 27% on PlayStation. This generation, PlayStation sold 1.2 billion units of software. Bethesda accounts for less than 1.9% of Sony's total software sales.
Okay. Well, the Bethesda stuff, I definitely, we're going to get into that at the end. I'm going to bring up Doom Eternal for sure. But you definitely brought up a lot of good points, VJ. Points that I didn't even think about. I mean, you are very analytical and you have a lot of knowledge on the industry. You've been, you know, in the industry, you've been to these other countries, and you've seen how these companies operate. So, and I always respect your opinion, VJ. And that's why, like, I wanted to go to you first on that for sure. But I do want to get into, you know, our guest's opinion as well, and Midway's opinion. I know that Gaz tried to jump in there. Gaz, what were you going to say about the Luna situation?
Mate, I was trying to find out what we were actually talking about. You know that second Matrix movie where the architect tells Neo what's actually happening in the Matrix? That was where I was completely lost. Are we talking about? Are we talking about? Was this started off as an Amazon Luna conversation, and it kind of went everywhere? Are we talking about Amazon Luna and its impact? Let me keep it on Amazon Luna, just so I understand. Vijay, you're very analytical, and I'm impressed by the breadth of your knowledge on all things. But I kind of got lost, and that caused me some concern. Like, wait, have I got the wrong bullet points for this podcast? But yeah, Amazon Luna, man. Like, without going into the Matrix like Vijay did, I just generally think that, you know, if there was going to be a competitor that's going to flex its muscles, Phil Spencer almost decreed that the real competition wasn't Sony and Nintendo. It's these guys, Google and so on. I just think that the core gaming looks and the foundation that Xbox has built over time, and critically in this gen, and it having that core hardware will lend itself well to do well in the cloud space anyway. These guys are Amazon and Stadia. I'm talking about are starting fresh. So I just don't. For me, despite the fact that they've got considerable financial muscle, I think it's going to be an uphill task for them. I think generally with streaming, it's almost viewed with skepticism, particularly in core gaming circles. But you'll see that change. Project X Cloud has changed that, but that's because it's ancillary to services, your core gaming experience. It's seen like as an extension of that. Anything in isolation, that's what Google, Stadia, and Amazon are. It's going to be a bit difficult to take seriously until later on. And my good friend Asa mentions, however, though, Google are massive. Imagine one day watching a YouTube video and being able to just play through streaming, like watching a stream and then just jumping in like that. The potential there, but I'm not saying that we would take Luna seriously. It's early views, man. But core gamers will always be where the native hardware is, the local hardware is. So it's early days. It's interesting, and yeah, I'm just gonna have a wait and see approach. Right now, it doesn't get me hard without sounding weird. But there you go. I'm not hard.
Even though that was weird.
Yeah, I'm always weird, but yeah, I'm not erect, is what I'm trying to say, clowns.
Gotcha. So you're not too concerned right now. It's a wait and see approach to see if it's really going to take off or it's going to just fall and bust. Kind of like
concerned. I'm not Microsoft, so I don't need to be concerned. It's more I'm not interested. Is what I'm trying to say. Like generally, right now, I'm not interested. You need to do a lot to surprise me with this stuff. Luna's already got a starter price disclaimer that it's £5, whatever. The launch lineup looks better than Stadia's, but it's still nothing that's bouncing at me.
That $50 controller, you wouldn't be like, oh my god, $50 controller, I need to have that in my house. I need that. Or in England, as you guys say, in my flat. I need that in my flat.
Yeah, well, I don't need a Switch Pro rip-off controller that badly, I'm afraid. It doesn't really excite me just yet, but I'm not writing it off, but just like as a gamer, just look at it like, okay, well, let's just see how it performs. But right now, Project X Cloud is as far as I will go as far as streaming is concerned. For me, and even Phil Spencer himself says it, because the main way to enjoy your games, the best way is local hardware, because this is in response to people saying that, Xbox is going to become a service, yada, yada, and it's not going to focus on consoles. It's going to be the main thing, it's going to be the hardware that we have. But yeah, I'm not that hyped, but let's see what the other guys say.
Midway, I promise you next topic, you'll be first. I don't want you to feel like that you're going last here, but I want to get Crispy in on this, because I think Crispy had some things to say. He came in, he was on fire, he was, he blew out of his van, ate some Taco Bell, tried to win that Series X. So, Crispy, what do you think about this? What do you think about Luna, the cloud streaming thing and Amazon's hand in it?
Well, first off, if I'm going to go try to win that, I'm just going to go buy a soda because I'm not a fan of Taco Bell anymore.
Even their sodas are trash.
They got the special Mountain Dews, remember? Luna is interesting, and it's no coincidence that it came after what Microsoft did with Bethesda, and I don't care what anybody says. They did that on purpose. For all we know, Amazon could have been trying to get ZeniMax anyway. So you have to understand that you're not talking about Sony saying, yes, now it's day and date. We're going to put all of our exclusives day and date. That would be a big deal. Okay. And I think that would immediately, bring subscribers. Amazon is doing the same thing Google did. They just watched what Xbox did and said, well, we're going to give more of a subscription service rather than you trying to purchase the games. Amazon has two things going for them over Google. Number one, they have the AWS. Okay. Their cloud servers are possibly better than Azure. Okay. That's number one. Number two, they also have over 130 million people on Amazon Prime. So let's say this thing just does not catch fire. They will find a way to integrate it into Prime. How many people on the panel have the Prime?
Yep, I got it, Prime. I got it. Who doesn't have Prime? Say something.
Well, yeah. I mean, and that's my point. Like, this isn't like Google just throwing their hat in. This is, an xCloud, competitor. This is what it is. And if they get exclusives, I think they have a few, and I think they had to pull them back. I don't remember the name. Shame on me. Like I said, I came in hot, so I didn't look at this too thoughtfully as far as VJ did. I'm just saying. It's interesting that a lot of people are writing this off as nothing because with the amount of user base they have, keep in mind that Xbox took a lot of flack for going to monthly active users. Kind of funny. Just saying. That now all of a sudden it becomes, it's coming into play. The only thing that Xbox is doing differently than everybody else is they are releasing multiple different ways. They're including the streaming service within the ecosystem itself. We always say Xbox goes a little too far ahead. Well, right now Google and Amazon are too far ahead. Okay, they're a little too far ahead. I almost feel like it's rushed between the both of them. I just feel like Luna can be taken more seriously because of their user base with such things as Prime and even, into their music, Prime, Music Unlimited and all these. They have so many different, outs to everything. They can bundle things together. They can do a lot of things, but they're still in beta. You're not going to see what it's capable of until they really, they're going to hike the price up. We all know it. It's going to go to like $10 or something more, once they're out of the beta phase. Now, just think about this, though. Xbox is still technically in a beta phase. So I see a lot of people really enjoying the xCloud feature with Game Pass Ultimate. And one thing with the Bethesda acquisition is you got a ton of exclusives coming to your phone if you don't feel like playing on your console. And that's a pretty big deal. And I think this is where we're going to get into that argument later. And that is going to be one of my points because they're not looking at Sony. They're not looking at Nintendo now. They see Amazon in this race with their servers, with their wallet, their big bank, and they are going to be looking at them before anybody else.
Yeah, I agree. Midway,
I just think it's going to be a very uphill battle for Amazon. I just don't see how they're going to do it. I think you talked about Crispy. You talked about them raising the price before they even think about doing that. They better have some damn good shit, otherwise it's going to go by the way of Stadia. It's going to.
I mean, let's be fair. I mean, their lineup doesn't look bad, but you could play these games just about everywhere. So that is up to you. I will say this: if I were them, I would have went more the Prime route first. Like I didn't even know about Prime Gaming. Maybe I would have integrated it in there somehow before I would have just done.
What the hell is that? What's Prime Gaming? I don't even know what that is.
I think it's just smaller games. I'm not really sure. I didn't go into it, obviously.
Prime,
go ahead. Yeah.
Prime Gaming is what Twitch Prime used to be. So basically, you get your free games on Twitch, and you get that one free sub that you want to spend at the Four Guys Recorders Twitch channel. No plug there, by the way. So yeah, that's.
Yeah, I mean, I would have integrated it more. Like they really haven't, they haven't put enough information out there. You know what I mean? Like they haven't said, how it's going to integrate with Twitch. Like, are you going to be able to, stream to Twitch off of it? Like I think that's something that they're kind of losing out on. Like, even Stadia, they didn't, they were talking about YouTube, but they haven't done it yet. Like you guys are taking, big giant, monster steps, and you should be taking little ones. And that's what Xbox has got over them. They're way far ahead. They've got the library. They're ready to roll. And I find it funny because it's almost like, once again, Microsoft saw this coming, and they're saying, that we're going to be ahead of this, and we're going to have a lot of different ways for you to play our games. And it's going to make a difference when it comes down to it.
Midway, did you want to jump in and say anything about this Amazon Luna and how excited you are?
I got a couple things. I mean, I find it kind of ironic that the three most Western companies are finding ways to get into the mobile space when Sony and Nintendo are kind of behind. Um, the thing about Amazon is I think they have a special yin for Google because I feel like they always try to undercut them and everything. Um, like I switched to Amazon Music because YouTube Music is $10 more. They're $9.99, and then Amazon Music is $7.99 when I got it. And I find myself to be more in the Amazon space than the Google space. So I broke down and even got like one of those little mini Alexa things just to set my alarm. I really don't use it for anything else. So but like I was reading Tech Radar had an article that they said that games confirmed for Luna, it will have Assassin's Creed Valhalla, and they'll have Control, 2 Point Hospital, Sonic Mania Plus, and Ukulele and the Impossible Liar. So they're covering a wide range of gamers. But because I don't think Stadia had any major um triple A's when it came to like from launch. Like I mean, it'll be out when Assassin's Creed Valhalla comes out, and then they also said that they'll have Far Cry 6 and Immortals Phoenix Rising, but you'll have to have an Ubisoft subscription. It says it will require a subscription to the Ubisoft's and Amazon Luna channel. So a lot of interesting stuff. You don't need that controller. You can still use your PS4 controller or Xbox One controller, so that's a plus. Yeah, I mean, this is something that I would be interested in, especially with a $5.99 price point. I mean, it's not bad. It's something that I'll try for a month. Um, it's definitely starting. I mean, for all those console warriors and everything like that, like when you're starting to see three major um companies with servers everywhere starting to think that cloud gaming is a thing, maybe it's time you should start paying attention.
Yeah, I gotta agree. And I'll probably mention this later and ask you guys about it, but this is one of my opinions on why I think that Microsoft and Xbox are going hard at buying studios because they see cloud services evolving at this point in the game. And why not acquire as many studios as you can before everybody starts acquiring somebody, so you have something in your pile of IPs that you could put on your services. So that's one of the opinions I had on that. But I want to go into the next topic. I mean, it's not really a super big topic, but Tom Warren really posted some impressive specs on the Xbox Series X, playing some games and stuff. And he was saying that like it's a pretty much a dramatic increase in speed, load time, smoothness. It's like a matter of seconds for some of the games to load up, and it's got like that quick resume. Did you guys have a chance to read that article or look at it?
I personally didn't
No.
read the article, but I've been seeing a lot of videos talk about it. Um, Shout out to Randall Thor 19 and Dealer. They had some pretty good videos about it, and just the load times alone. I'm definitely going back to like there. I have a backlog that's like 3 miles long, so it'll definitely feel um more convenient, I guess you could say, going back to playing, especially with when I know that my time is very valued. So, but I really, I mean, if it's the X, do you think the S is going to be doing the same thing, right? You think that it's be about the same times?
Should be the same, right? It's the same hard SSD, isn't it? Don't think it's going to be any different in terms of its speed. So I expect that to be. It'll be interesting to see those comparisons, though.
Yeah, because the S file sizes are smaller, right? So compared to an X, because they said between the X and the 1X, a couple games were like a minute and a half difference. It was crazy. I thought that was an amazing uh discrepancy.
Yeah.
You know, I'm sorry, guys. I was just gonna say that I'll be able to let you guys know for sure because somebody at my GameStop, butted in front of me, illegally and took the X that I would have gotten and two other people would have gotten.
Oh,
So I got the only S that
You know
was
what pisses
available.
me off about that the most? You know what really pisses me off about that, clowns?
Yep.
It's the fact that you didn't beat the shit out of that guy in front of you.
You know, I thought, the thought crossed my mind, Gaz. It really did. Then I figured if that would have happened, I would have never been able to get an X later on. I would have been banned from my local GameStop. And that would
Yeah,
have
but
been
at least you'd have
Fear
beat
the
the shit
beard,
out of
man.
him.
They're supposed to fear the beard, man. That's that's the whole point of it.
I mean, I did come back later, when they opened the doors, and like we have social distancing, and maybe I shouldn't have done this, but I did not abide by social distancing, and I kept creeping as close as I could to him, and he felt really uncomfortable, and he couldn't wait to get away from me. I think at that point he thought like I was gonna do something to him.
Is
Um,
that your form of retaliation, like trying to scare them from a potential disease that you may be harboring? So you're like, hey, I'm gonna give you corona, maybe.
No, because I wasn't coughing or anything, but maybe that's not a bad idea. Maybe I should have.
He should have started coughing into. I would have coughed in his face at the very least, man. The worst thing is, I was reading your Twitter updates, like they were coming in live, and you were super excited. I'm like, hey, I'm here in queue, this massive queue, and then you dropped that bombshell, and I just thought, man, why is that person in front of you even alive right at this point? And I was praying for violence. And yeah, so don't be like me, guys. But yeah, at the same time, just part of me just wants you to just literally shaquax his neck, whatever that means.
Yeah, I mean,
Shaquax.
real quick for everybody in the chat that's watching right now. What happened basically was I got in line at GameStop. There was maybe like 4 or 5 people in front of me. Then there was a kid in front of me. I called him like Bob because he had a chair. And Bob had a little friend come up to him and stood next to him. And Bob's friend was going to jump in line. And I talked to Bob's friends like, yo, Bob's friend, if there's only one X left and it gets to me, I expect you to give it over to me because you're not butting in front of me. I don't want to lose my temper. I told Bob's friend this, and Bob's like, no, I respect that. I'd be upset too if I were you. So Bob's friend jumped out of line. And I was like all happy because, the manager came out, said how many X's he had. And me and Bob were like, yes, we're going to get an X. This is great. And all of a sudden, here comes some lady rolling up in her minivan. He hands this kid standing in line his wallet with money that he drove her kids there apparently with no wallet, no driver's license. We really think it was his wife, but she just bumps in line and manager comes out and hands her like the paper. She orders like 2 X's somehow. And me and Bob and another guy complained and we're like, oh no, she's with him. And the manager just was like, just stood there like, mouth open. Didn't really know what to do. So I got a little agitated and I said, listen, it's not fair. She just butted in front of everybody. She's handing this dude money. How can this be a friend who lives at a different address? How is she going to just bring money up? You don't just give your random friends a wallet and a key to your house to bring your money up. And then the dude turned around and in line,
Yeah.
he's like, it's my kids. This is her kid right here. I said, well, who's her kid? Well, the kid's holding her spot. I was like, well, how old's her kid? It's 3 months old. I was like, a 3-month-old's holding her spot. What'd you bring the 3-month-old against their will? I mean, seriously, the 3-month-old
3-month-old is holding us.
it can't. The 3-month-old
Yo.
can't hold the spot. He was forced there against his will.
Wait, is he actually 3 months? Do you guys think about what you're saying here?
Yeah.
3 months old. 3 months old can't do shit, man. It's like barely an embryo. Like
3 months, yeah. Even in his, he
What
had a
the-
car seat.
Wait, hold on,
that
Clowns.
Yep.
Clowns, a 3-month-old beat you to Xbox Series X. Is what you just said.
I mean, at the end of the day, you could look at it like that, yeah. I made my
Stealing
discourse.
candy from a baby. The baby just stole an
Yeah.
Xbox Series X.
Yeah, baby just screwed me over for the Series X. Yeah, I mean, I made my discourse heard very well. What's up?
I just wanted to say, everyone in the chat, UK Dazzers just dropped a code. Whoever gets that code, make sure you say in the chat, and then give UK Dazzers internet high five.
Yeah.
What is that code for?
Like
Daz?
this.
Is it like an OnlyFans like special code, or is it a game? Or...
OnlyFans.
Is a 10% discount code on OnlyFans.
I'll take
all right,
that
all right.
shit.
Let's get Clowns off
Sorry.
that bad time that he
Bad
had.
juju. Yeah, that
Never
bad
forget,
juju.
Clowns. Never
Yeah.
forget.
I was gonna steal that baby's pacifier next time. That's right. That's what's up. I'll get it. No.
Such a rebel. Damn.
Yeah. So that's I got screwed out of it. But anyway, the topic that we were on is just that the X is it's pretty much a significant beast as far as improvement goes, and Tom Warren posted some specs on there, and it's extremely impressive. If you guys had a chance to look at it or not, I'm gonna try to bring it up real quick here.
Is it the X or the S you're talking about?
The X.
Yeah. I read that one, and I saw Digital Foundries as well. What it's doing with backwards compatibility is pretty insane. I haven't heard from VJ in a while. VJ, did you? Oh, it's not my show. What am I talking about? Class, you do your thing. But I was just gonna say, like, are you guys impressed by it? Did you guys expect that kind of like backwards compat boost, like 60
Absolutely,
frames?
I did.
Yeah, I did.
That's sick. I didn't. I just took it
I
by
expected
surprise.
it with the load times, but like everything else is just gravy.
When you play on the One X, you've already seen what they're capable of. You know what I'm saying? So,
yeah.
I saw that horsepower. With the gorgeous breakdown. I mean, it's just incredible that Xbox just handing out consoles to people and letting them just take it apart and I'm sure Digital Foundry is going to probably take it apart again because they love doing that stuff. And it's ironic that some other console didn't do that. Besides that point, I was more in the Jeff Grubbs article. He really broke it down, and he's kind of a funny guy. I mean, he's a little quirky, as I like to call it. And he called out little things that are really minute and just stupid. But he was extremely impressed in how the load times were just incredible. Number one. Number two, the thing he's like, dude, I don't even know it's there. Because I watched a live stream, it's just answering random questions. Some of them were dumb, and he was having a good laugh about it. And just like, I just don't know what's there. Now I have my PC running, and that thing sounds like it's taking up every noise. He's like, I'm gonna go and take it into a proper room and read the decibel level. But he's like, the thing ain't there. Like this is something that a lot of people have been saying also, that it looks great, standing up. You know what I mean? So these are little things that maybe Microsoft just thought about. And then we saw the airflow little thing that came out. How they mapped that out. It's something that just Bill is just good at. He sees all these little things. Like, we are going to be back compact. Guess what? You get to play your old games plus a Cyberpunk. I mean, where are you going to want to play Cyberpunk at this point with those load times? You damn well know you try to play it on another console. Holy crap. You're probably going to be sitting there for 2.5, 3 minutes for something, or it's going to just not perform the same way. And, regardless of the TV you have at this point, they've proven there's a reason to jump to next gen.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I'm primarily a PC gamer as well, and I'm making the jump to Xbox Series X. It's that load time, like you said, Crispy, that's really getting me. I've got a NVMe SSD on my PC, but that's not optimized to do what those consoles are doing. So for me, the only thing is, it sucks that Cyberpunk's that next gen patch isn't there day one. But yeah, like that's a massive attraction to that next gen, especially the Xbox Series X. Definitely, and on top of that, it's supposed to be really quiet, and the console looks nice. Which shout out to that design, man, because I look at the PlayStation 5 and it makes me sick how shit that design is. I know it's very subjective. Some people say, "Oh, that looks nice," but then that's the kind of console. You've seen that episode of The Simpsons where Homer Simpson designs a car. That's what the PlayStation 5 looks like to me. If Homer Simpson
the
designed
more
a
I
console.
see, the more I see the design of the Xboxes, the more I'm liking it.
Yeah, I immediately liked it. It's like the obelisk from 2001 and Space Odyssey, where everything just becomes.
Here's some of the stats I just want to read off to you, right? So, according to Tom Warren, he timed the load times. And on the load times, Red Dead Redemption 2, 52 seconds on Series X versus 1 minute 35 seconds on the One X.
That's crazy. That's at least like 3 Pornhub videos for me. That's amazing.
Outer Worlds 6 seconds versus 27 seconds. Destiny 2 43 seconds versus 1 minute 52 seconds.
That's mad.
That's
the one that shocked me was Sea of Thieves.
What's Sea of Thieves? What's the time and speed?
Series X is 20 seconds. The Xbox One X is 1 minute and 21 seconds.
That's insane.
Dude. They've cut it to a third, basically, from just about every game.
That is insane.
Yeah.
That is insane, man. And remember, these aren't even optimized. Like, they're just literally raw, churning through these. Yeah, like that. That's crazy, man. UK Dazarus says my my load time's long. What? I don't know what that's supposed to mean. That just sounds wrong.
Azzy baby, what you doing over there?
These
are load times, not blow your load times.
Yeah.
VJ, do you have any thoughts on these load times? Do you think that it's a big deal for gamers, or do you think that it's not gonna really push for people to upgrade? Any thoughts on that?
You mean, does this have me excited?
Yes.
I think everyone's excited. I think it's been 7 long years, right, since we've wanted hardware, and I guess I'm as excited as one can be, whose highlights in life are bacon and tomato sandwiches, cakes, cups of tea, and a good book.
I'm with you, bro.
I don't know, man. I can't scramble my eggs now.
What if you had some debilitating accident that doesn't allow you to smash some eggs in a pan or something?
I had some steaks I wanted to cook, I wanted to get in between, just.
You just got the Series S for that.
But we don't know yet, right? We don't know yet.
That was always my theory, is that the heat dissipation that came out of that area, they're like, let's just have it be painted black. It's probably making some kind of discoloration, in my opinion. You know what I mean?
I just think it was a identifier to differentiate the gens. That's what I just think it is.
I think everybody should be excited for next gen. I mean, you guys were just talking about it, and what levied me was that the fact that there's far more competition and investment going into next generation, right? Just with Luna and Google Stadia. I mean, Google Stadia really surprised me, and they've got Shannon Studstill and they've got Jade Raymond over there. So I thought they'd be doing something a lot more meaningful. Maybe they are, maybe they aren't. I have really no idea. Maybe their best days are behind them. But if we can more meaningfully incorporate play into our lives, and the community development, I think we'll all be far richer for it. It's always going to come down to the extent to which you can engage, right? Users and players' imaginations. And I think that's more paramount, not the technology or any of that stuff. Of course, it's great. But ultimately, the tech that's in these machines, I think, is just going to allow for a greater canvas for creative expression. And I see that and as I said, I think that the investment is going to be huge going to next gen, and we benefit obviously. And ultimately, if that money sort of doesn't end up sideways and ends up in the right places in terms of creators' hands, and the games that they can make, then I think it's fantastic. And with these new systems, once they become more freely available and you have the privilege and I guess the means and wherewithal to purchase any of these fantastic systems, or maybe all of them, right, then by all means go for it. But I think one of the biggest things for me was Xbox having launched this sort of wonderfully sensible all-access program, and it's available to sign up directly with Xbox and participating partners. God almighty, I sound like an advert, don't I? All around the world. I think it's a perfect gateway drug for those of us that cannot afford to spend $500 straight off the bat. And what does that do? This just further cements a community of people that play games from all walks of life, even for someone as simple as me.
That's
Real
a
quick,
good point about accessibility there. It really is opening the doors for everyone. That's why I love what Xbox are doing.
Flamish wants me to announce that he's doing a contest in the chat. So he's doing a giveaway for the game Hades on Steam, and part of the way to win it is you have to add him on Steam as a friend. But the third person to say hi at Flamish, the Belgium sensation, is the one that will get the Steam code. So if you have Steam, I'm gonna just type in the chat, and this is a Flamish. This is a gift from Flamish. So thank you, Flamish, for doing something this cool. It's appreciated, man.
Do we have to be friends with Flamish
Thank
to
you,
get that gift?
Probably. Yeah, probably.
Damn, I can't enter that competition. Sorry, Flemish, but with someone who plays Leisure Suit Larry as much as you definitely are a serial killer in the making.
Oh God.
I'm messing with you, Flemish. Love you, man.
Well,
So subtle, Gaz.
I am a subtle man.
So I don't. Let me restart this video because you guys got to see this. The games with gold, so they're getting worse and worse, man. And I think because they're pushing everybody towards Game Pass, but games with gold. Come on, video, restart here. Dun, 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 restart. Is Slayaway Camp, Mad Skier or something, some Spinks game, and then Costume Quest on 360. Now, Costume Quest, I like that game. It's just like stupid fun for me. But the other stuff, I don't know anything
What are you
about
talking
it.
about here? What are these games that you just mentioned? Sorry, what are they for?
Games with gold. Yeah.
They still
Games
have
with
that.
gold. No one gives a shit about games with gold, man. Just forget that shit.
You know what? You know what? I will say this, okay? They're continuing with it. All right. I don't understand, but they're still giving you free games, regardless of what they are. So,
Look at this game right now.
Gaz,
would you play this game, Gaz? It looks like you're like a little box in a camp. You just slay little boxes. Would you play that game?
Oh yeah, man. That's definitely game of the year, material.
Can't wait to play that on your Series X.
Oh yeah, it's not like my backlog is massive or anything. I need to play a box game where you kill other boxes. It's brilliant.
Keep in mind, this is all coming from hardcore gamers. We're joking, like, because there's probably some little kid that's like, "Ooh, let me try that." Okay, so
that's what I'm saying.
And that little kid is probably the kid who beat clowns to the Xbox Series X online and games.
I know. It probably is. That little baby. Damn you. Damn you, baby.
He's using that game for the Series X.
It's an option. I mean, come on. This is one of those things. Like, they're still doing it. You know what I mean? They're still doing it. They shouldn't do it anymore. Just release them to Game Pass and call it a day. I mean, and I'm sure we're at 15 million. I guarantee after that Bethesda thing, they're at 20 million right now. I'm not even kidding.
Yeah,
Right?
I wouldn't be surprised.
They release every quarter what they're doing to their investors. We'll probably get some inkling of what's going on, and it's gonna be going up very fast as certain games. Like right now, we don't know what Doom Eternal is about to do to it. So, I mean, Doom Eternal. I mean, the game pisses me off, but it's spectacular. It
It's
really
gonna
is.
well, I'll tell you
It's
what,
So
it's gonna slaughter games with
No,
gold.
yeah, dude. Like you see that's why you would never see something like that anymore. You know, it just there's an enticement to go to Game Pass, and I feel like it's time. You know, if you're gonna games of gold, just go away. I mean, you're
No,
giving
I
it to
would say
people
just
for
go away. It's just you're right. You're right initially, Crispy. It's good. I mean, we're just being dicks. You know, some indie developers actually poured his soul out, remortgaged his house for that box game, and we're just laughing at it like it's bug snacks. Which is another developer I feel sorry for because their games become a meme as well.
All
But
right, so if it's multiplayer gas, then Four Guys with Quarters versus Game On Daily in that box slayaway camp game. Let's do it.
I'll do it. I'm ready. I'm ready. Oh, Game on Daily Crew
mean,
will knock you out. Come on, you want to fight this? Then we're going to take it 1v1 Rust on COD.
Don't make me get that baby.
Oh shit, that's your secret weapon.
Yeah,
Just because that baby beat the shit out of you, man. Come on, man.
yeah. I mean,
he's gonna follow. He's gonna watch that kid grow up, and then he'll be like 20 years later. You remember me?
Oh my god.
here's the Series X that I saw you cry about on Twitter. Yeah, right.
And
Bash
there's
him
that
over
pile
the
of
head with it.
corpses. Like, oh god, the revenge story, the clown's revenge story.
Oh my god.
That's a good
That's why
TV
Cod's like, damn it, if that little baby wasn't there, I would have really went off. You know?
That story is definitely made for television.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. It crossed my mind to call the authorities just to make sure it was really her kid. But you know, I didn't want to pull a stunt like that and end up in the
Call me a sec.
newspaper
You would
for
call the
something
police
stupid.
for that.
Separate
DNA
the kid
test
from
on
the
the spot.
family.
DNA test.
You're gonna call
Take
me
him
a
to juvenile detention.
juvenile detention. Mate, it's
So,
3
but no, like
months
seriously,
old.
like who here doesn't have Game Pass Ultimate? Who here doesn't?
PJ, you got it.
What have I got?
Game
Pass
Pass
Does
Ultimate.
everybody here have Game Pass Ultimate?
I don't have Game Pass Ultimate.
Okay, then Games for Gold is just for you.
What is
Yeah.
no? I don't.
Wait, why do you need that?
Because I feel like it's being like repurposed. You know, like because like you said, everything Game Pass. We're starting to get the bangers in Game Pass now. Nobody's really even looking to the left at games with gold. You know, I think they're just pushing all these little things out, just hoping to get a download here and there.
Yeah, but ultimately, the games of gold. The bigger issue is the gold itself. The fact that you have to pay to play online. And if they can
Oh god,
sprinkle some.
that's just a
See,
rabbit
that's the thing.
hole
That
oh god, let's not go
I mean,
down
it
that
could.
rabbit hole.
I mean, it could be kind of like let's make this as bad as possible, so people go to get Game Pass Ultimate, so their gold is already paid for monthly, and that way we could start maybe what is it phasing out the monthly gold subscription.
I think
Yeah.
they get to 30 million and they're probably gonna get rid of it. Like for Game Pass. Game Pass Ultimate, they're gonna hit 30 million and then they're gonna get rid of it and they're gonna say, like we love giving free games, but at this point they're kind of not what you're looking for. So, we're going to give these smaller developers that, are kind of touting with the games of gold a better opportunity to make some revenue. And I think that's a good way to play it. You know what I mean? Because somebody's going to complain about it. We all know this. You know what I mean? Somebody's going to be like, I don't get free games with gold anymore. You know what I mean? But instead of doing that, just say, hey, look, these are smaller devs that are putting these games out there. And I mean, everybody could say, you look at games like Fall Guys and stuff like that. That game could have been in there, for all we know. Wait, the way it looks and everything else, it's a cartoony game. Well, guess what? People are enjoying it, you dumbass. You know what I mean? So, excuse my language. Sorry. But But
Use your language.
that,
I've been swearing for like so
yeah,
far.
well, I know where I can swear. You know what I mean? Like, so,
Yeah, but
if somebody doesn't
Gaz, you're
like
from
it,
Britain. It's okay.
but that's my point. Like, this is what they're doing. They're probably helping a developer. To be honest with you, that's probably what they're really doing at this point. And they're getting their name out there, and somebody might enjoy it. And that's my whole point of it. Where's the bangers at? Like, dude, like you got co-op Untitled Goose Game coming out. I guarantee me and my girl are gonna end up playing that because it's just dumb fun. It is really just dumb fun, and you will sit there and chuckle the whole time you're playing that damn game. And that's the whole point. Like, some games just catch fire, even though they're not this great, like Last of Us 2 or even like a Gears of War or Halo. Like these smaller games do have a place in an ecosystem, and thank God Xbox has one.
Yeah. No, it's true. It's easy to make fun of them and make comparisons. Everyone's so thirsty about AAAs, but to me, all joking aside, indies really push the bar for on ingenuity. They take some risks when AAAs tend to get really stale in the formulas that they follow that are very derivative. So yeah, you're right. The little games can be a lot of fun. The indie games are some of the most like just pure gaming, that you get. And some, visually they'll take risks. It's just fun. I take it. I mean, we all make fun of it in just a silly way. We get obsessed with AAAs a bit too much. But
Well, and
yeah,
you just think about this. There's just one more point I got to make about this. Bright Memory will become Bright Memory Infinite, and this is one dude doing it. Think about that. And I'm gonna tell you this: that Infinite part, that's Microsoft throwing him money. I'm telling you right now. Okay, because they said, okay, the only thing we ask is exclusive for at least a period of time because this looks cool. You know what I mean? And that's what Phil Spencer does. This looks cool. You know what I mean? This looks like something kind of new. You're kind of mashing a bunch of games together. This is what we're looking for here. We're looking for something that, hey, maybe down the road we're giving you 5-10 devs, and we're saying, hey, you want to be bought into our ecosystem? We're going to help you as much as we can. And I don't care what anybody says. Phil's trying to preserve gaming in general. What we know as gaming, us that are in our 30s, 40s, 50s, that we knew what gaming was. I feel like Phil is trying to do that, and that's why I trust the guy.
oh damn, that's a lot of praise for Phil. Phil, I don't know if he's the gatekeeper of the purity of all games. I mean, he is a great guy. I mean, I did a video on why I think why Phil Spencer saved Xbox, but I wouldn't go as far as saying that he is. I do actually. Well, saying that, I agree with you, Crispy, that Phil understands the core essence of value of gaming. Or so, at least from what he says publicly, and embracing indies. You remember that Microsoft really ballsed up their messaging. One of the things at the start of this current gen was how betrayed or unsupported indies felt, despite the fact that it was actually the
Well,
Xbox
I'm
360
going,
that gave them
and
hope.
you have to understand. I'm going off of what is going on. So you
Yeah.
have Bright Memory coming from one dev. People wouldn't
Mm,
look at one dev. You have the Falconeer, that's one dev. You have Tunic, that is one dev. So you think about the variety you have right there in general.
yeah.
Okay. And on top of that, the quality of game. I mean, I truly believe these games are high quality games. Okay. And yes, they're in different genres, but that's the whole point. Like, most other companies wouldn't even touch it. They say it's not our thing. And that's the whole point. Like, yes, maybe Nintendo might do it. You know what I mean? Especially like a Tunic or something like that. But they didn't get there first. They didn't look at the one dev. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Who's looking at the one dev? Xbox. And these games are console launch exclusives. So might be like, oh, it's not Last of Us. It's not this. It's not that. But Falconeer, I haven't played a game like that in God knows how long. And visually, it looks way better than any of the games that I would play on back compat. It is worth
Yeah.
my
I
time.
agree.
At least try. You know what I'm saying? So And maybe
This
I
is what
don't like
indies
it.
do, don't they? Yeah, the indies do this. They really push the boundaries with stuff like that. Really, most inventive games I've seen. Some of the most inventive games I've seen this gen are coming from indies. So
I
when
don't
we
know.
do make fun of these, Tunic,
Tunic to me looks like Zelda in a fox body. I don't know.
I know this is a little bit
I
off
call it
topic,
Foxy Zelda.
but there's a song called Tunic Tunic that was really terrible. If you look it up on YouTube, you'll understand what I'm talking about. It's like Tunic Tunic
Sounds like
Tunic Tunic. Like that's the song.
I don't want to know then. Thank you.
Crispy,
just a
I'll
portent
send
of things
you
to come.
I'll send you a
You're gonna
DM
send
so
me
you
a
can.
link. Yeah.
I will. Yeah, I'll make sure Xbot plays it for you. It's pretty it's pretty popular. I want to go ahead and the next topic real quick because we're going over the hour is this PlayStation issue, right? I mean, there's word coming out now in one of the articles I linked that in Europe, especially, they think that they're gonna have problems fulfilling the PlayStation 5 on launch until 2021. I don't know how true or where they got their source 100%, but a lot of people have been predicting now that PlayStation oversold themselves or was trying to beat Xbox to the punch. No word on America. This is just Europe and Ireland, I believe. However, with that said, unlike the baby who stole my Series X, I got invited by PlayStation to pre-order my PS5 through PlayStation directly, which I did. And if they are delayed till 2021, you might see it on eBay, so I can get my Series X from that baby.
Oh my
So
god.
that's the ultimate betrayal for Sony, isn't it? That you sell theirs on eBay and buy an Xbox Series X.
yeah, apparently
Clowns holds grudges.
the
Just don't let
eBay.
MBG hear you say that you're doing that. Oh my god.
Yeah, Sony says, you're the type of gamer that we want to sell our system to. We blah blah blah. We see you play a lot of games online, yada yada, which is mostly on Xbox. So I don't know how they see me play online so much, but it is what it is. I got the pre-order invite. Maybe it was like saying, "Hey, you really don't play on the PlayStation service, so come on over, get the PS5." But I mean, if this is true, if this rumor turns out to be true, or this source turns out to be genuine, and there really is a supply issue going on, especially in Europe, which is a major market for PlayStation, and let's say that Xbox doesn't have that problem, I think this could turn out to be a big, big issue for PlayStation.
Oh hell yeah. Hell yeah.
So
Day
Midway, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead, sorry.
I was gonna let Midway go first because I know that he's been going last, and I put VJ next to me on the podcast, and he was a little sad about that. So Midway,
Jelly.
yeah, Midway, what do you think about this? Do you think this is going to be an issue? Do you think that this is just people just hyping up a rumor, just trying to cause paranoia? Any thoughts on this?
I mean, if you start back from, they had the yields problems, and then they obviously, as a company, would deny it, and now you're, had a crazy launch, and then now you're having basically delayed shipping on products that are supposed to be there at a certain place in time, and not just a certain place in time, but now you got to have it, what, at least 3 months from we're expecting it. It kind of, if you were a detective, you would think there'd be a problem here. I mean, it seems like there is a big problem where they're trying to fulfill their quota, and I've been to places where things were oversold, and it is not a happy sight when the customer is told that they have to basically not play, not play with their friends, not come in, not, and so I really hope that they rectify this situation very quickly, or else you're going to see a lot of unhappy people.
Yeah, I gotta agree with you. Gaz, I want to go to you on this because I know that you're in the UK, and I don't know what the PlayStation fanboyism is like over there. But as far as I remember, it's part of Europe still, right? So What are your thoughts on this? Like, if this turns out to
Not
be
part of the
true,
European Union.
what's
Yeah,
that?
it's not part of the European Union because of Brexit, but
Oh, yeah,
yeah,
right.
but it's still part of Europe. The UK it's actually hotly contested as far as the PlayStation and Xbox concerned. The Xbox 360 gained significant ground in the UK with the against the PlayStation, which is completely unthinkable at the time. But then the Xbox One and its missteps there led PlayStation to completely dominate now. So this one, the UK probably follows the US as the strongest territories typically for Xbox. US first and then the UK. If this is true, and we're talking about a 2021 delay, and assuming also that you have to remember there have to be Xboxes available to plug in the gap if there's going to be any damage done or any momentum gained for Xbox to benefit from this, then that's massive. That's huge because the momentum day one with these consoles to me is so important, and I keep harping on about it. The fact that the Halo delay was a big dent to Xbox, which is kind of crazy now, overshadowed by this whole Bethesda thing. But it's still pretty. It's still that day one momentum is pretty real. If PlayStation is delayed till 2021, that's huge. That's going to just get people to jump on Xbox if they're available. But then you've got Xbox Game Pass, and everyone else is going to be playing that. It's going to be it's happened before though with PlayStation. I had delays to contend with the PlayStation 2. I remember that with PlayStation 3. The UK is Sony territory, but things like that can make a big difference. Question is long term, beyond just launch. How long are we going to see these sustained delays? Were Bloomberg onto something? I mean, right now I'm just going to give them the benefit of the doubt because it's all speculation at this point. But if you're just going to entertain it and say that there's no smoke without fire, then yeah, then you know what? If that delay becomes true, then shit's gonna go hit the fan because people are already talking about it, and no one really trusts anything that Jim Ryan says, or after all the shit that we've endured post Sony showcase. So yeah, it's
I
gonna be
mean,
very
Jim
interesting.
Pinocchio. Jim Pinocchio.
Yeah, he is Pinocchio, Jim Pinocchio. Jim Ryan, if you're listening to this, I'm sorry, but yeah,
Ryan Lion.
Ryan Lion,
Lion
but
Ryan, Garbage Pail Kids, bro. Like, come on.
Yeah.
garbage. Yeah, no, it's going to be an interesting one. Part of me thinks, but if it's the yield issue, that's a serious that's a serious serious thing. Then I don't know what to say to you because that's going to spill out to consumer confidence in these consoles and how they're going to perform. And that thing is
You can
huge,
use
man.
your
The thing,
PlayStation 5 as your very own hot plate.
exactly, and the thing looks massive. And you know what? It's the 29th of September. We still haven't seen the actual console beyond renders.
It's
What the
broken
hell is going on?
down. That's my point. Like, this is what drives me crazy, okay? That everybody's gonna sit here and go against one term or the other. First of all, we all don't know, okay?
Yeah,
And some people will be like, "Oh, it's just it's fine." Well, number one, first thing I saw when I saw that console, I said, I think they're gonna have a problem with airflow. And the reason it came to fruition even more in what the little demo that was shown, it was actually today, I believe, of how the Series X uses basically the cold air to go into out, because heat rises clearly the hot air. Now, obviously, hopefully there's no problems with the people that, put it, horizontally instead of vertically. Is this the stand? And I'm like, so why do you need the stand? That's the interesting part. And then you look at when they even just showed it in the renderings, okay? Literally, like the airflow goes all the way around it. Sony
yeah.
went all
Have
out.
you ever seen that? Have you seen that in a console with that many vents all around the thing? That's just,
And one thing I say is I feel like Sony went all out and said, we have to produce a console that looks like a console. You know what I'm saying? Like the traditional console. You know, like, yes, like when we first saw like PS, PS3 and stuff like that, like they looked weird, but they looked like a traditional console. And I feel like Xbox, you know, we have to do something to make sure that we don't have the red ring of death ever happen again. Because I'll tell you right now, nobody would even be saying, well, PlayStation 1 at the end of the generation. If the 360 came out and no BS, because I had the red ring of death and I was unhappy. Just gonna let you know. I didn't switch because I played Gears and that was the end of it. But that's the point. Like exclusives matter and people are going to stay around. But what's really going on here? And then you hear these rumors of you know the overclocking and everything else is overheating the thing. And then what the heck's the thing going to sound like? Because my roommate has a PS4 Pro, and when he runs it, I could hear it through a wall, people. Through a wall. And he tells me, oh, don't turn the heat up. I could just turn on my PS4.
I was
And
just about to say that. Yeah.
He's not kidding. I'm telling you, he's not kidding. Well, I'm sitting here right now, and my One X is running, you know, any game, and or just sitting there and idle, and you don't even know it's there. And that's the beauty of what Xbox has realized, and it's through their own darn fault. When the 360 came out, they know that they can't release a console that's going to be screwed up. So, like I said, hopefully the horizontal compared to vertical does, you know, nearly the same thing, or at least keeps it cool enough, because obviously from what I've seen, they have stands on it, but I mean, are you going to get enough airflow from that one vent that's getting blocked? And that's the one thing that I'm sure they've tested at this point, because they're so scared for the same damn thing to happen. I'm a little off put, because are they allowing you to refund your money, or at least partial, you know, like what you've put down on it, if this happens? Because I've seen it. I've seen people saying that, you know, they got an email saying they're not going to get it until 2021. Well, maybe they say, I want an Xbox. I need the money back. They're going to have to figure it out, because I feel like PlayStation, and I understand what VJ said, they have a lot of money on hand, but you have to understand that they're carrying a lot of debt with the other aspects of their company, and they have to be able to have that money on hand so they're not borrowing. And you know, this all goes from, you know, me, you know, working in retail and also investing. So this is where I go and say there's free cash on hand with Xbox. If they screw up, they got $40 million they can go through. $40 billion. My apologies. $billion. They have free cash. Okay, that they could just spend wherever they want. This is why I go and say, watch the studios they buy if they can get them, if they're willing to do it. And this is something we might go into later, but that's the point. Like, I don't feel PlayStation is ready to take that kind of hit. And we saw it even with the PlayStation 3. They, at one point, we were like, are they done? Because they stopped advertising. They literally, they just threw everything in and said, we got to change this now. And I'm concerned that, you know, Jim Ryan keeps saying, well, we can't afford to go to like a Game Pass model and stuff like that. This is what we're going to. Our own night, it's going to happen. And PlayStation, especially because they don't have that niche product like the Switch. They are trying to go for the same market that is an Xbox, and even the games that are coming out for Stadia and Luna. You have to understand, they need to wake up. You need to be able to say, okay, we'll raise PS Now to $20 a month, but you're getting our exclusive bangers, because they do have great games day and date. And I am sure that will up subscriptions and they will make some money from it. But as of now, I feel they're just kind of like paddling their foot and waiting to see what happens. While Microsoft's sitting here like, well, we're making money. Like,
Yeah,
you
but
add it up, we're making.
Sony have come out and said that they just don't see that as sustainable. They said that they
That's what
just.
I was just saying about Jim Ryan. That's what he said already.
Oh yeah,
So
it's true. He's lying,
and
Ryan.
so much they spend so much on their studios and the game development. And that's the reason why he said the model doesn't work for them. But who's to say that a PlayStation gamer wouldn't pay $20 to $30 a month to have those games day and date? You don't know until you try. And that's where I think Xbox is a little ahead of that. They've already been trying to see what they can get out of it. And it's clearly working, or putting Bethesda. So I don't understand why people are just ignoring it, because especially if you're not going to offer, a refund or something, it's a little concerning. Hopefully that's the case. I don't know enough about it, and it hasn't been out in the wild enough, as I'd like to say.
Yeah.
Now, real quick, since this is like the last major topic, VG, I want to get your input on this, right? Like, do you see this as being a real issue, or do you think that it's being hyped up? Is it a rumor, you think, or any thoughts on this, that there could be possible delays on the units being shipped to actual pre-orders until 2021 on the PlayStation 5?
Point out something I said on your show, I think a couple of weeks back, right? There was about 20 years ago, September 20 years ago, there was a report out from Forbes that said that PlayStation, this was for the PlayStation 2. Yeah, PlayStation 2. It was CNN, actually, 20 years ago, paraphrasing here. So they said that the launch, there was that. The launch quantities are going to have to be cut by 50%, citing problems in production. Sony need to stagger shipments on a weekly basis to meet demand. They're going to have to book air freight. And Sony are well behind in production. And even their share price fell by, I think, 9%, right, at that same time. And so I think Sony's not the only player in the industry. And we know what happened with the PlayStation 2 eventually, right? It became the best-selling console ever. So I think the other person that I would listen to is John Linneman, right? He obviously knows a lot more about what's going on in the industry than any of us, right? I mean, they knew about the S back in March, apparently. I hope I got that right. But so he was saying something along the lines of, these console launches should be delayed. I don't think he really sort of gave a reason for it, but from my perspective is that if they're definitely not able to meet demand, neither of those consoles, because I found it just as hard to purchase an Xbox Series X as I did a PS5. Now, that's just my experience, right? I'm just one guy, right? But I think that if they really don't have enough, what was the push to get it out this year? I mean, Nintendo showed, right, you can launch a system up until March. Neither Microsoft's year end, I think someone mentioned, is June, and Sony's is March. So I think what they should have done, if they are having problems, and again, I don't know this for fact, they should have just said, you know what, we're going to stockpile enough units and launch properly. And if that meant just launching in the US and staggering launches into other territories, I think that would have been a more sensible approach, because what's happening right now, I think for a lot of gamers, the unknown and the sour taste of like not being able to get a system versus other people sort of flashing their receipts on Twitter is pretty disconcerting, right? And if Sony and is using the classic marketing technique of treat them mean to keep them keen, I'm sorry, but those days are long gone, right? I really did prefer the way that Microsoft went about sort of explaining to us, look, this is the data available, even though availability was incredibly poor. So all in all, rumors are rumors. I haven't checked the source. I haven't investigated, so I don't really know. So I can only really go by history and what John Linneman recently said. And at the end of the day, the proof's in the pudding, and I think everything's going to pan out in the next few weeks, if not months, and we'll know exactly where we stand. And just to sort of round off my thoughts is that, look, whether they launch now, Microsoft launches today and Sony in 3 months, these life cycles for these machines is 7 to 10 years. We still have to wait for the exclusives to come, right? This is a complete reset, right? So all of those studios that prove themselves, they're only as good as their last game. So every single studio, whether it's Nintendo's, whether it's Microsoft, whether it's Sony, have to do it all over again and convince us that their ecosystem is the one that we should be giving our generational loyalty to. And I think, again, it's horses for courses. If you like the content on a given hardware system, then that's the one that you'll gravitate towards. But what I do think is that all three of them have excellent options, right, in terms of what they offer in terms of a value proposition. And I think that, again, and I mentioned this already, I think that the All Access program really does give rise to, especially in this generation, to dual console ownership. And that's exactly where I am and several of my friends are, because they really do offer great content, all three formats. So anyway, I'll leave it at that. Yeah.
Okay,
Hello?
that was well said. Um, we've actually just hit the 1.5 hour mark, and I promised Gaz that
I thought you
we
was
don't.
just going to say that very efficient, but I'll go with well said.
It was efficient.
No, it was
Well
well said, efficient, analytical, genius. VJ, I swear, somewhere in the industry they need to hire you as like a guy that reviews the paperwork, so you can tell us, when their books are lying, you can be like, dotted line number 16, you don't have this many units on hand. This is not your cash flow. You need to like get in that and do like forensic bookkeeping for them.
VJ's not Rain Man. He's very analytical, though. He's just not a bookkeeper. He's got very interesting. VJ, you need to. I've just been listening to you quite carefully. You're really analytical, and it's really good to have your. You need to put. Do you write articles and stuff, or do you put pen to paper, or is it just some podcasts that you?
No, I mean, I know Crispy Bomb and Clowns really well, but I met them both on Boom's show. So I've never been on social media, I think, until June or late July, late June, early July. And I just wanted to come on because I just found Boom's channel really, really interesting. And so I just reached out to him, and he was kind enough to let me on the show. I was terribly nervous. But I think Noof Nukem was on the show, and he just said, look, just go and have a couple of vodkas, you'll be absolutely fine, and if anyone says anything, I'll stick up for you. So and then from there I just appeared on a weekly basis, and then people just reached out and said, look, do you want to come onto this show or this show? And I just do my best to give an opinion and try to inform the community as the best I can, but it's all my own perspective. But Clowns has been really supportive. I have actually messaged Clowns and said, look, do these articles get traction, and do you have an editor? Because my writing and my punctuation and everything is terrible. I mean, I left school before graduating, so if that gives you any idea. So but yeah, no, I really enjoy the opportunity.
It's all about what sparks your creativity, so you're doing a great job.
Yeah, you remind me of literally the architect from the Matrix movie. It's insane.
Dude, you got something going on that just most of us don't have. Like, obviously, you do a lot of research, and I think we can all say we appreciate it a lot, man.
Yeah, it definitely does. And I want to say this too, is like when Xbot was on the show and he was talking, all of a sudden VJ started just throwing out numbers and knowing things, and Xbot's like, oh my God, you need to come on the next podcast because I am now your biggest fan. Xbot like fell in love with his analytical numbers and all this other stuff. And VJ, I think you were too smart for school. You probably got bored of it because you are a very intelligent individual.
My German teacher was really attractive.
I believe it.
Well, you gotta go back to instincts at some point, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Well done.
So I guess you know German really well, huh?
No, I was too busy. I'll leave that for Crispy Bomb.
Yeah, you actually cut out on my end, so I don't know what you said, but it was probably pretty clever.
Sprechen Sie Deutsch? Wie heißt du?
We need Archimedes on the show.
9.
Oh, Midway knows a little bit. Well, before we get out of here, I just want, and this is not really like that big of a deal, but Doom Eternal's coming to Game Pass, and for a lot of people, they didn't fork out the $60 to buy it, but love Doom. It's like a pretty big deal, so it's exciting for all you people to get a chance to play it, and I imagine more and more of these Xbox Game Studio games will now come into Game Pass in the future. So I think we should be expecting a lot more. Dark CMS, thank you so much, man. I definitely appreciate it. And Gaz as well, I appreciate yours. You dropped in the chat earlier and I said something in the chat, but I didn't get a chance to verbally say it. So it's definitely I appreciate that support, man.
Yeah, but you didn't read the message. What was the message?
He's saying Gaz is a lotion and a sauce loving pimp. And
I just wanted to hear you say that.
I gotta say, I think Dark's onto something. Maybe that's why it's so smooth over on Game On Daily, because you you smooth the topics out really well and you do a good job.
Oh, thank you, man.
think
I also
I think
mentioned your beard. In yours or in
Oh,
Jason
Ronaldo.
Jay Ronalds, yeah, Jay Ronalds competition. You know, I tried to get Jay Ronald to follow me, but he didn't follow me. Maybe I'll send him some beard pictures.
You know,
He's
he's
jealous.
more into the he's more into that technical aspect. He's like, yeah, this social media thing's too much for me. That's probably what it is.
You know,
maybe he's jealous of the hair up top.
Ooh.
I think I'm going bald back here too. You know, I'm getting there. Got a little bald spot growing.
I'm
Yeah,
already there, man.
it's funny because like Phil and Aaron and a few other people follow me and they talk to me, but can't get Jay Ronald to follow me. Can't get
Oh,
Stein to
I
follow
didn't
me.
know I didn't know that you got Phil following you and I don't. That's not right. No. See,
Yeah.
he
Wait,
didn't go
Phil
all
Spencer
through
followed you?
Phil Spencer followed me.
Yeah,
Yay! Like it's like
Yeah, he's a really
You
cool
know,
dude.
he's no Mark Cerny, but just maybe he's just not. He's very awkward with the public eye.
you know,
yeah, no, I'm a little vocal. I'm just saying he doesn't want me on his timeline.
I
That's what
can't
it
get
is.
Yoshida to follow me, but he'll talk to me on Twitter. Like when I talk about Fall Guys, so like he'll always respond to me, but he won't follow me. That
Verified.
Yoshida, yeah, he won't follow me. The verified one. Yep. I try, I try very hard. But I know we kept Gaz on here long enough, and I know it's probably late over in the UK, and I feel bad, Gaz.
It's all good. Don't worry about it.
So I hope you had fun on the podcast, and Crispy, I hope you had fun as well. It was good having you guys on the panel. Got to get you guys on, and in the future, going to try to get Dealer on and Colt on as well. Maybe try to get like a big panel going. That'll be kind of awesome. Get everybody
Always
back and forth talking.
Always down, man. This was fun, and I literally I've met two people that I didn't meet today, and I always appreciate that.
Yeah, definitely.
Appreciate it,
good.
sir.
Absolutely, man. It's good to get people back. Is this like an impromptu outro? Clowns,
Yeah.
what are you doing?
Yeah. No, you guys didn't see that? The thing from Flamish that popped up that goes. "Vroom." Did you hear that? Did you see that on the show? Because that was something that was very funny. If you didn't see that, you got to go back to the episode. It's awesome. He pretended he was driving a Mario Kart and going. "Vroom." Anyway.
I legit had to be there.
What's that?
Don't worry, I'm just being a dick. Is that actually your outro, Clowns? You're terrible. Go on, do a proper outro.
Yeah,
For each and every one.
I am terrible.
Not
I'm
messing
so.
with you, man.
I know. But anyway, but Gaz is right for sure. I got to get him out of here. It's getting late in the UK. He's probably falling asleep over there, thinking about Flamish. Because Flamish is the Belgian sensation across the nation. So Gaz, thank you for being on the show. Where can everybody find you?
You can just find me at Gaz on Daily. For people who don't know, I'm the co-owner of GameOnDaily.com. The other co-owner is Asa at Game On Daily. He's the one trolling in the comment section, in the chat. Yeah, so you can just find me at Twitter at GazOnDaily, GameOnDaily.com, and our YouTube channel is Game On Daily. So yeah, looking forward to see you guys on there.
Thank you, man.
And GameOnDaily.com is a site, Clowns. You know it. It's for content creators, for podcasters and stuff. So all the articles you see there, you can create. So yeah, go ahead, have fun.
So I want to give a shout out to Game On Daily, the website. It's a fantastic site. It's the best news aggregation site out there. There is no toxicity on there. It's neutral. You can post PlayStation, you can post Xbox, you can post Nintendo. You could probably post Commodore 64 if you wanted to. They are very awesome. Very cool people over there. No problems, no worries about what you post. They're not going to give you a hard time or tell you like some bogus excuse. It is the best 100% hands down verified by Clowns news aggregation site out there. So everybody that posts Xbox, PlayStation stuff, check it out. If you're an executive at Xbox and you just happen to catch this show later, check it out. It has the best news sources possible. I had to say that, Gaz, for you. It is the best.
Thank you, man. That's very nice of you.
And
it is the best.
It is. Yeah, no doubt. So good, I might have to get a tattoo of that later, Gaz.
Oh shit.
Crispy, where can people find you, man?
Oh well, I'm pitching that double header, so it's gonna be fun. Yeah, Retro Renegades is about to start like now, so I'm gonna jump out and jump in there. It's on Flamish's channel, and yeah, we're gonna be a little more banterish and even crazier than here, which is kind of hard to think about with you guys in here. So it's gonna be fun. And then next podcast Thursday 7 p.m. Breakfast with Boom. Friday 10 a.m. 10 a.m. It's the morning. Get your coffee ready. I'm sure King David will be lurking around somewhere. And then hit me up anytime, man. Like, this was fun.
Yeah, thanks, Crispy. And Jay said I could be on the show tonight, and then when I asked him again if I could pop on, he's like, "You gotta ask the boss." So I assume the Flamish is the boss tonight. So I didn't ask Flamish because I'm afraid he might take his shirt off. So if just remind Jay if you like, and be like, Clowns is crying. He's crying so hard. We should just let him on and have a pity party for him.
Oh, you just gotta call Flamish Dragon Spice once, and then you're in. There you go.
I think so. Midway, where can people find you, man?
Great show, guys. It was awesome. I think we had the most people watching. I think we got up to like 33 or 35. Since I started being a regular, and that's awesome to see. I'm on Xbox Live. I'm Midway7 Monster. Here on Twitter, I'm Midway8 Monster because for some reason Midway7 was taken. Great show, guys. Crispy, it was a pleasure meeting you and talking with you. Gaz, you're a hoot and a half, and go White Sox.
Likewise. Not the White
Uh,
Sox. I have no idea what that means. but
Cheers,
yeah.
bro. Cheers, bro. Because
They got game one. They got game one.
It's the
I got a
baseball
few
team.
beers in me, baby. A few beers. It's gonna get rowdy and retro.
Nice.
He might lose his internet connection, and it's not his fault when that happens when he's drinking beers.
Or a shirt.
For sure. VJ, where can people find you, man?
Got half an hour?
In the Matrix. Yeah, you got half an hour.
No,
This
just
is
kidding.
the sixth version.
It's always a pleasure. I mean, I keep bumping into you onto these panels no matter where I am. So yeah, it's great to have you on today, Gaz. I don't know what part of England you're from, but it was nice to meet you. Midway, as always, you seem
It's
to
a
be coming.
pleasure.
I can't believe we've been on like several podcasts now together. I keep forgetting we're panel members on this channel. And Clowns, thanks for having me on again.
Absolutely, man. Well, until next time, everybody. I'll see you guys later, and you can just catch me on Italian Clowns on almost everything. So have a good night, man.
Peace.
Later.
Laters.
Go Bears too.